I grew up in Santa Monica, California. Just one? I grew up in Santa Monica, California, which is getting a lot of press now because I went to high school with Stephen Miller. Yeah. Yes. If you guys don't know who Stephen Miller, do we know who Stephen Miller is? Okay. If you don't know who Stephen Miller is, he is a chief advisor of Donald Trump. He's a chief advisor to Donald Trump. He co-wrote the Muslim ban, and he is the only person that I know who is both Jewish and loved by Nazis. So I went to high school with him, and this reporter from the New York Times hit me up, and he's like, hey, I'm writing a story about Stephen Miller. Will you talk to me about what he was like in high school? And I wrote back, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'll talk to you about that, and I'll tell you everything you ever want to know. And he goes, okay, cool, let's meet up for dinner, and then let's do an interview. And I was like, great. And then so I showed up for dinner, and he did this little reportery thing where he was like, let's eat dinner first, and then do the interview. And I was like, okay. And then during dinner, he's just like, hey, Charles, you want another drink? Hey, Charles, take another drink. Another refill on that old-fashioned? And I'm like, dude, you do not have to do this. I'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know. But, you know, I want my free drinks. So I'm just taking all these drinks, and then we finish the dinner, and he's like, okay, first question. Was Stephen Miller bullied a lot in high school? Because he really seems like he was bullied all the time. And I'm like, common misconception. And this is actually true. A lot of people ask me that question. Stephen Miller was never bullied in high school. Stephen Miller was the bully. Stephen Miller bullied kids in our school who were new to this country, who were learning English as a second language. He bullied the kids who are already marginalized by our society, and he continues to do that from the White House today. And the reporter's eyes get real wide, and he's like, oh. And he just like scribble in his notepad. Scribbles. And he's like, man, wow, I just thought he was like bullied all the time. And I'm like a little drunk at this point, so I'm like, I wish somebody had bullied that guy in high school. He's never had any consequences for any of his racism in his whole entire life. If I could go back in time, I would go back in time. I'd go up to Stephen Miller on the quad, and I'd bully him. I'd be like, Steven, you're a little Steven. And then I'd make him watch Moonlight. And yes, if I'm going back in time, I'm bringing my copy of Moonlight, okay? I don't want to be in a time where I can't watch that movie. It's a great movie. And I see the reporter, after I say that, his eyes get real wide, and he's like, oh. And he's like, scribble in his little notepad. And then we talk for like 2 more hours, and let me tell you something. I spilled the tea. For like 3 more hours on Stephen Miller. And at the end of the interview, he goes, wow, you really know a lot about Stephen Miller. And I go, yeah, well, he was kinda my friend. He was my friend, but I didn't know what I know now, and it was just like, I thought he was doing some performance art piece. And as soon as I realized he's a genuine, white supremacist sociopath, I stopped being his friend. And then he goes, okay. No scribble. No scribbly on the pad. 3 weeks later, the article comes out, front page of the New York Times. It says, I spoke to a bunch of Stephen Miller's classmates, and his friend Charles Gould. And nothing else. Nothing else I said the whole entire dinner except that I'm Stephen Miller's friend. And I remember I saw that and I said to myself, man, I gotta start doing stand-up comedy. I gotta get in front of as many people as possible and tell them I am not Stephen Miller's friend.